And the claps died down. Okay. So, yeah, I'm a bit of an odd person. So, and I was dead sure I shouldn't be speaking today, particularly after seeing such a beautiful program. मैंने कहा कि बाकी सब ठंडा क्यों कर दें अब लेकिन I have to start somewhere. I go a lot on stage. This is one of those few times, or this is the first time when I have a lot of people in front of me who are extremely good performers, and I'm going to be the one judged. You see, one of my greatest flaws is I used to study. This was an experiment I started doing very early, and somehow I got into the habit. First time the experiment was, I studied very hard. Then again, the next time I repeated the experiment, I studied very hard. And the end result was the marks remained the same. So then I started experimenting what happens if I don't study. And that became a habit. How many of you, if you are told to do something, you get a deep desire to do something absolutely opposite? Beautiful, wonderful. And do you get it every day, every time? And do you do it every time? Well, my suggestion is if you want to do it, be prepared what to see. Okay. So you just give me a rule, 99% something opposite will happen. If you don't believe it, give me a suggestion which you think nobody can do. Try me out. Okay. So anyway, now the question is, this is something that I have faced a lot in my travels. So I have a certain identity and I wear it on my body. But most of the time, people get it wrong. So this identity is generally called sannyasi. But usually people will say, Pandit ji. And I come from a family where my father was very clear that I'm not going to teach him religion. So I have no clue what all a pandit. And even in the ashram where I was trained, is mostly a ashram which has a lot of yoga. Some mantras are there. So when people say Pandit ji, I have I don't even know which nakshatra I was born under. Now I know because I lived in South India for 20 years and everywhere you go, people keep on asking you. And initially I stayed in ashrams where they used to ask me. So I had to find out. Then there's another word which is used, Banteji, Banteji. You know what is that? Okay, it is Buddhist monks. So people who are used to Buddhist monks, they would call Banteji, Banteji. I had no clue what they were talking about. Finally, I learned. I was in Rajasthan, and in Rajasthan, anybody here from Rajasthan? Okay. How do they wish people, wish sannyasis particularly? Dok lagu. I had no clue what was that. So I would also say Dok lagu. Dok lagu is my head to your feet. Something of that sort. Yeah? I had no clue. And one child was saying, Dok lagu. I said, Dok lagu. Because you say namaste, I say namaste. You say hi, I say hi. So Dok lagu. So then I don't know how that works. I had no clue about the language. Of course, they did not say anything to me. But then I was staying in a place and they went and spoke to that man. And then he tried to explain he doesn't know most probably. So he settled things down. But as a sannyasi, some people think that you're a monk. That's the best translation that anybody can come up with, right? But I don't stay in a monastery. I stay where there is Wi-Fi, where I can get students and where the climate is favorable. So I would rather, like many words in English, if you translate, it kind of messes up the whole thing. It's easy for me not to speak slangs, not because I'm a sannyasi, but because there was a time when I just spoke slangs, slang words. Slowly, I have an uncle who's in police. So there I started using more slangs to show that I'm apni biradri ke hain. So his son went and told my grandfather. And my grandfather was a very senior person. I mean, not just as a grandfather, but as a matured person. He had lived his whole life in a certain way. So he came and very lovingly told me, बेटा अपशब्दों का प्रयोग नहीं करना चाहिए. You must not use inappropriate words. That was one line which kind of stuck in my head. And after that also I used a lot of slangs because I was growing up, I was a teenager and I was a rebel, and if I'm told to do something, obviously I should not do it. So, but then over a period of time I changed myself. So it's not that I am against anybody using slangs. Please use it. Let yourself out completely, because I have done more of that than anybody, I think. Yeah. But at the same time, because I have used so much, I've got tired of it and I can get over it. Sannyas is something to me which is free bird. सारे नियम तोड़ दो, नियम से चलना छोड़ दो. So living life like that is sannyas for me. And my teacher is also more or less like that. So he is living in an institution and he manages a trust. So he has to live in a certain way, but he also knows how I am because I stayed with him for many years. And when I said I'm going out, so I was told, you cannot go out with this cloth. I said, you can keep the cloth. I can buy another outside. So you can only tell me whether I can use the name or not. So finally, he allowed me to leave with the cloth and the name. And his basic thing was, I want people to understand that a sannyasi is a normal human being. So that was his basic reason for letting me out. As a sannyasi, so sannyasi is more like middle path, not here nor there. One is, sannyas is walking on a razor's edge. Okay? So I don't know what comes to your mind. To my teenage mind, because I started out very early, I did not start out as a sannyasi very early, but I started out on the concepts of sannyas very early. I started out as a sannyasi around 24, 25. So, to me, I was always curious, what does it mean? Is it an ant that walks on the razor's edge? That ant only perhaps can walk and not die. Anybody else would get cut. But I realized that it is almost like walking on the edge of the cliff. The land is not yours because you don't fit there. Down here you can't go because you don't have wings. So you have to stick on the cliff edge. That is sannyas for me. I don't know what it is for you. I just shared one of the things. Another thing which is there is, rolling stone gathers no moss. Yeah? A sannyasi must be like a rolling stone which gathers no moss. What is moss? Accumulations, relationships. But what I realized over a period of time, I've been traveling a lot. It's 30 years almost I've been traveling. I stayed here and there a bit. Now I'm trying to stay in Mysore. And that's why I'm here trying to find people who can speak about me and say he's a nice person and we know him and you should go to his class, kind of thing. Because word of mouth works better. So what I realized is, a rolling stone also gathers no credibility, no money, because you are traveling always. But I also realized what the saying actually means. It is like, players, they say, now let's roll. Dancers who are ready or the musicians who are there they say, now let's roll. So rolling stone actually means prepare hard, work hard, train hard, and then perform in life. So this is the few of my learnings. I would have gone on, but thank you. And short it sweet also, no? So Hari Om.